I want to challenge something there
Please.
for a second. I think when you're younger in your financial life, business life, whatever you want to call it, you're just a noob, right? You're a rookie. I do think doing is more important than planning to an extent, because you don't have things too much to plan. Like once you plan, okay, I'll give you an example. Like I started, I'm like, okay, cool. I just need to make I need to get to $15,000 a month as quickly as possible, because that's what I need to be able to think, because all my stuff is covered, right? So I think I just don't want people to listen to this who are younger and misconstrue it as, oh, this is an excuse to be lazier and not do, and another excuse to just mentally masturbate to more podcasts and more knowledge because I'm trying to level up my character, versus at some point in the beginning, the only way to level up your character outside of the information that you already have is to put in reps. It's
sure.
to you to go knock on doors and
you can't
build that grit.
But the thing is, the assumption is that knowledge in that the self-development comes from just thinking. The renewal of your mind comes from action. You actually have to put in the reps to become better. You can't learn from theory. You have to learn from practice. You can't study Facebook ads. You have to run Facebook ads. You have to get in the trenches and click the buttons and get in there. But unless you go through the preparation phase, it doesn't matter how many buttons you click, you're going to be clicking the wrong buttons.
100%.
So it's that symbiosis of always juggling personal development, action. I think Brian Johnson said something really impactful that I heard. He said, when I realized that I wanted to live forever, I turned off my brain and I just started doing. And that means that he planned, he made the preparation, and then when it was the right time, he switched off his brain. Because if we keep our brain on too much, then we begin to wander, we begin to double think, we don't go into flow state.
Yeah.
Doing is where you go into flow state. But a lot of people never enter flow state because what they're doing is the wrong thing. So it's more so, don't take the first step unless you understand what your end destination is. And it doesn't have to be a billionaire. No, I need to make 10 grand. That's my next destination. And then the next destination, and then the next destination. And by the end of 1,000, trips, you've hit so many destinations that now you have a big treasury, right? And that's what we look at. We're like, whoa, look back. I was like, that's a lot of money. I didn't expect to have this, but you just put in the reps. The issue is people never take the initial time to plan the destination, to plan the trip, and to count the cost of what it means to be an entrepreneur. The cost is expensive. It requires hours, tears, dedication, struggle.
Lost relationships.
Yeah, but that's never talked about.
Yeah.
We never talk about what you have to give in order to get. You have to buy your freedom. Your freedom isn't free. You have to buy it, and it's expensive. It requires time, energy, attention, but everybody has those things. You just want to make sure that you're inputting the energy, time, and attention into the right vehicles. I fortunately was able to make a lot of my money in crypto. I just predicted the fact that everybody was going to like internet money, and that all of the USD liquidity would eventually, once it gets into USDT, it'll just black hole and create an eternal loop of just absorbing cash into Bitcoin. That was my thesis back in 2016. Played out, was right, made tens of millions of dollars from it. Hurrah, that's it. Not a big deal. But it created mind freedom for me to be able to realize that the way that they teach us how to make money is flawed. And it's flawed because people like to add. They like to add $1, 2 weeks wait, they add another $100. If you want to make real money, you have to multiply. You have to play the game of multiplication. You have to play the game of arbitrage. You have to play the game of leverage. And these are the games that they don't teach you. And these games were taught to me by the players that respect you by leveling up. And at the highest tables per se, they never talk about money because everybody has it. They talk about your personal development, your character, your trust, your loyalty, the things that money can't buy. And these are the things that people sacrifice and are willing to get rid of in order to make the money, right? So I think if you preserve your character, you preserve your nature, and you're patient, it may be bitter initially, but the fruit of patience is so sweet. Your first 5 years, your first 10 years, you're going to have to hustle. You're not going to skip it. The guy that made $1 million on a meme coin, that's the guy that made $1 million on a meme coin. Is very rare. It's a blue moon. It doesn't happen. It doesn't occur to everybody. If you want to make money, it has to come from not luck. It has to come from opportunity development. That development comes from skill repetition, and it comes from rep maxing. You have to go hardcore in your reps. There's an individual that talks about bodybuilding in a very philosophical way. He was a contender for Mr. Olympia, and his name is Mike Mentzer. And he talks about the way of developing a perfect physique equates to 3 necessary parts, and these 3 necessary parts apply to any endeavor of life. So if you apply these 3 endeavors of life and these 3 endeavors in life, any action that you take, you can master, whether it's fitness, whether it's health, whether it's business. When he says intensity, how hard you go at something. You know the time you go to the gym and you kind of half-ass it versus the time when you go all in. Intensity matters in business as well. The second one is extensity. How long do you go to the gym? Do you go 6 months? Do you go a year? Do you go 3 years? And then repetition. So how hard do you go at something? How long do you go? Duration, stamina. And every interval is how many repetitions, how much intensity in every single one of these units. Whether you emit that same pattern in the gym, in business, and in life, if you have an intensity, extensity, and frequency, you cannot lose. So go hard all day, input the reps, input the action towards a desired result, and the desired result is inevitable. Whether it's money, whether it's achieving a relationship, a specific physique, anything can achieve if you have the right input.
Agreed. Now, the X factor here is the vehicle that you're in as well,
Sure.
right?
And that's where it's like, that's where it gets a little bit trickier. This is where people have to explore because it really has to do with one's individual nature. I think.
Agreed.
I think the wealth creation method is different for different
100%
people. So you have to find your wealth creation profile. There's a book that helps you find your wealth creation profile. It's known as the Millionaire Master Plan. It's a very simple book. It's a book that I recommend to everybody that's not a millionaire yet, that wants a master plan on how to become a millionaire. And it gives you different wealth profiles. Like Warren Buffett made his millions in a different way than, I don't know, Oprah Winfrey. But they made money based on their profile. So find your profile, and then you'll be able to find kind of the vehicle.
Yeah, I was actually in the event in Lebanon in my talk. This is actually something I was talking about. I was like, listen, dude, like you have to understand your character profile. Where are your strengths? Are you like extroverted? Are you introverted? Are you good with numbers? Are you bad with numbers? Like all these little things that are natural to your character at the time in your development and where you've developed, and lean into whatever those strengths are. Like, so for example, for me, it was like sales, right? Like I was really good at communication, speaking with people. It wouldn't make sense at the time, even though I'm good with numbers, to maybe go into a space where I'm competing on numbers like stock trading or options or things like that, because I don't have as much of a competitive advantage as I may be in selling a service to businesses, because that's something that I know if I knocked on a door and 10 other guys knocked on a door, I bet on myself to get that deal. You know what I mean? And so I leaned into my strengths, which is, you know, why I was so successful in the agency space. Sure. Now, luckily I was good with numbers and shit. So I took that money, I invested it, made a lot of money in my first big year of making serious money was 2020 in the stocks.
Crazy year.
Dude, I took 180K and made 2.8 million in 12 months.
Yeah,
like no options, just stock
just
trading.
Straight.
Margin, stock trading, oil, travel, ripping it. And I just bought the bottom and like flipped the top essentially. So that was the first big play, but it was just because I understood numbers, markets, things like you're saying at a macro level, right? Sometimes it's not about this like number on a screen, but it's the macro picture of, like you're saying, where is digital currency going? You played the macro picture. You weren't necessarily looking at a chart and being like, oh, this is like, I'm going to buy Bitcoin right here. I mean, right?
How long have I been posting my stories about crypto? For years, bro.
I mean,
forever.
15, 16 probably?
2017 on Instagram.
Yeah, that's when I first bought ETH, is 2017 in December.
Yeah.
I looked back just to check before this podcast. 2007, bro. Imagine I'm sure you sold.
I did. I have I'll probably post it on my stories. I was playing Call of Duty. It was my first $1 million month in ecom, playing Call of Duty in Florida during COVID. And I remember hearing the notifications go off on now closed exchange. What was it called? It was Bitstamp and then Bittrex. Bittrex already closed down.
I remember Bittrex, yeah.
And I just remember the XRP orders filling in at like 10 cents and Cardano at a penny. And then it went to
I remember
$1.80.
Cardano at a penny too. That was
crazy. And I was just playing Call of Duty when Warzone rolled out, and those orders were just filling. $10,000 order blocks of ETH at $95, $100, just filling. Every $10,000 became $400,000, and there was a lot of tens of thousands of dollars. Every single bit of my money from ecom except 10 grand, which was what was the Airbnb for that week and whatever expenses I need, I put it all in the crypto. I was a fucking degen. I was telling my girl, I was like, dang, the risk profile that I took on to get to where I am today is huge. I took so much risk.
But you really didn't. Let me tell you why.
Tell me why.
Because you leveled up your character so much that you knew you could go make $1 million a month. So your risk is actually lower than how it's perceived. So for example, I have a very high risk profile. I risk all my money. All my money is in crypto, businesses, projects. I mean, I'm talking to you about this cannabis project I'm doing. I'm like liquidating myself to like build this thing, right? But it's because I have the security of generating income.
For sure.
I know if it all falls apart, if you took all my money, everything, you left me, myself, my character, my connections, I'm making millions of dollars.
You have $100,000 in the bank.
Easy.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, maybe next week. You know what I mean? If you really put my back against the wall,
sure,
probably tomorrow. You know what I mean? With no money, no nothing, just skills network. That's it. Right. And so like, I think that's why our risk profile is so high, because you have the confidence in yourself as Luke Belmar. If I invested all my money into crypto and it all went to shit and was a giant Ponzi scheme, I'll go make money.
For sure.
So at the same time, it looks like a higher risk profile, but it comes with the security of self.
Yeah, and I think that that's the trade-off. You just have to develop to a place where you can be confident in your own flow. Like Michael Jordan doesn't think about the basketball game and whether he's going to perform. He's Michael Jordan. He's just better.
Yeah, and he definitely doesn't think about missing.
Correct.
His assumption is he's hitting the basket.
And so the repetitions that have taken him there, plus the natural raw talent, plus the momentum. And I think momentum is the next big component about making money. Is you have to be at the right time in the right place. You know, momentum has to be in your favor. If you look at ecom and you're in ecom, Q4 is rolling around. This is your momentum season. This is where you make money. This is not where you slow down. In the championship final for LeBron James, for Michael Jordan, that's when you go all in. You don't. What you did all year doesn't matter if you don't win. So I think when opportunity comes, people don't go all in. Right? When Bitcoin was fucking $586, I went all in. I went all in. I was buying that shit with my waiting table money. I would go to Wells Fargo, deposit the money, would go instant deposit cash, go to Bitstamp and fucking every single dollar into Facebook ads or into fucking crypto.
That's crazy.
That's what it was. Like, what else am I going to buy?
Yeah.
Like, I can only buy fucking XRP. I can only buy $30 of XRP today. Like,
yeah.
I can't buy anything else. So just accumulated. I need to find those bank statements. You'll literally see Coinbase $25 that day. Next day, Coinbase $25. Next day, Coinbase.
That's
$25.
crazy.
Auto deposits for years. And I think that people don't play the longevity game. People see the $1 million meme coin and they want it. People pick the wrong vehicle. People don't have mentors. People don't have mentees. People don't work on their personal development, on their XP points, on their skill, on their character. No wonder your life sucks. Everything that you're supposed to do right, you're doing wrong. That's why your life isn't working. We talk about people being spiritual or people being connected with God, but if you don't have the ability to change your current situation, your reality, then you're not a very spiritual person, because Jesus said it, as above, so below. What happens in earth, let it be done in heaven. What happens in heaven, let it be done on earth. And what happens in our mind usually then manifests into reality. That thought of having $1 million, that thought of having a successful business gets materialized into the three-dimensional world through action. But it starts here, right? So if you don't have this on lock as a starting point, you will literally walk around life wandering around, not having any direction, any solution, any orientation, because you haven't been able to steer the mind. And today, they are against and they are going after your mind. They're not going after against your work ethic. They're going after your mind. They're vampiring your mind, your
100%.
attention.
Yeah.
That's what they're after. They can get your mind. They can get your soul. They can get your attention. They can get your energy. They can get into your fucking family. I was going by a church today. Gay flags everywhere, transgender flags. Bro, they got into the church. They got into people's minds. They said, this is okay. This transgender flag on a Baptist church, symbiosis. This is symbiosis. Right? This is the new framework of thinking. So once you accept new frameworks of thinking, then people operate differently. So what you need to do is renew your mind. Renew your mind. Be in a relationship with God. Be closer to God. And when was the last time you asked God to bless your business? Isn't he the best business partner to have? He doesn't take any equity. Like, he's the best.
Funny.